Hello, my Teaser King family. How is everybody on this Memorial weekend, Saturday? I hope you're well. As you know, gold's closed. So it's 23.34. It's over 30.36. We know these prices are bullshit, but that's where they're at now. Just a second. All right. So I found a good thing for our gold people on the manipulation of the gold market of COMEX and really the Ponzi scheme of what happens. Hey, Titus. Thank you, Titus. Good morning to you, too. Basically, it's like Madoff, the gold Ponzi scheme and the silver. So, in other words, Madoff goes around Ponzi scheming. As long as he gets money in, he can pay out the old people, the initial people. And so that's how the Ponzi scheme works. Money comes in, I pay out. Money comes in, I pay out. Everybody's happy. That's how gold and silver are. As long as people aren't pulling the gold and silver out. So the Ponzi scheme lasted until people wanted their money, and then they took it all out at 2008 with the housing crisis. And too many people wanted their money at the same time. Just like a bank, just like it doesn't work. So in the bank, if everybody goes to get their money out of the bank, there's not enough reserves to pay out everybody. In gold and silver on COMEX, they don't have very much gold and silver in the vaults. So if everybody asked for their gold and silver, they wouldn't be able to pay out and their Ponzi scheme ends. And that's what's happening in both gold and silver. Everybody's asking for their gold, which they can't do. And everybody's starting to ask for their silver, which they can't pay out. And there's all this kind of they owe, so people are asking for the silver and they owe it, but they're not paying it yet. And this is where the house of cards is collapsing. So when the alligator says, oh, it's all done, gold and silver's all done, well, it is, but not yet. It's ending, but not yet. Soon. So answer your question, Luke, within the year. Yeah, you asked 1, 2, 5 years. Again, it's impossible to give you a specific date when COMEX blows up, only that it is blowing up, just like the Titanic. You see the hole in it, you see the water rushing in, and you're going, and we'd be on the Titanic, and we'd be, when's the boat gonna sink? I don't. It's sinking, but I don't have I don't know how fast it's gonna sink. It's the same thing with COMEX. We know it's crumbling. We know it can't survive because too many people are asking for gold and silver. And then it's just a matter of time till they don't have any more. And then we get away from all the paper manipulation that we can't stand, but that's okay. We know it's ending. So that's basically what's happening with COMEX. It's a Ponzi scheme that as soon as everybody asks for it, and now with what's going on in the world and the debt and the inflation and the printing of the money, it's all over. I mean, it's just a matter of time. Uh, so again, the gold price as of yesterday, it was 23.34. And it was before the holiday. There wasn't the big spikes, and I don't think, we shouldn't see too many more of those. We should see back to 24 on its way to 2,500. That has never changed until it gets, we're looking at $20,000 gold, $2,000 silver. I love how people steal my stuff. So this Lynette woman steals my 40,000 gold and 2,000 silver. Yeah, where have we heard that from? It's fine if they want to give me the credit for it. Hey, I was listening to the professor, and yeah, I agree with them. Okay, fine. I wouldn't care, but they act like it's their thoughts, and that pisses me off. Anyway, so we'll get more into gold and silver and inflation in a minute. Let's go into baseball yesterday. So in our picks, we had a good day. We start off with KC as our 10-star. It wins. Baltimore 5-star. It wins. The Cubbies unfortunately got postponed. That was a 10-star. San Diego under 8 was a push. Arizona loses for 5-star. The Dodgers for 5-star. Philly loses in extra innings. And then we hit Cleveland over 7.5, and Verlander, which I should have made a 10-star, wins. So 15, 20, 15, 10, 5, 10. So we make 15 units in baseball, and one of our big ones, the Cubs, is postponed. Basketball, we lose with Minnesota minus 5.5. What was the score there? They lose 109-108. Well, that's good. I mean, I'd rather see them lose than not cover. I always rather that. So they were up 15 points, and then they blow it. Going into the fourth quarter, they were up 86-75 or something. Now, that's why it was small. Off of a loss. They had to win. They couldn't. Now, what does that tell you? And we did that in the other series where the team has to win and lost, and then we say, well, we can't trust them. And we see. So now we see Dallas wins 109-108. If we look at the box score, so if we look at the box score, P.J. Washington for Dallas, 10 points. Gafford, 16. Luca Brasi, 32. Kylie Irving, 20. He sucks. He's always a pain in the ass. And Ben Lively, D. Lively, 14 points. So they have basically 5 guys that can score, and Luca with 32 points. Can they stop him? Well, OKC did in a few games. That was the one I was thinking of. So OKC had a back against the wall game, and they lost it. So when it came down to the end, we didn't really trust them in game 6. The game 5 they had to win. They did win, and game 6 was back in Dallas, and they lost. So if I look at the score, it was 60-48 at halftime. And they got outscored in the fourth quarter 30-22. Well, a good team at home doesn't get outscored 30-22. So if we look at our friend Anthony Davis, he got a whole whopping 21 points. And apparently can't guard Luca Brasi. So you're so good, you're the best in the world. You can't fucking guard Luca Brasi. Gives him 31 points, a bunch of assists, a bunch of rebounds. The guy's pretty pathetic. We don't need offense only. We need somebody to play defense. All right. So Towns, 15 points. Gobert, 16. Anthony Davis, 21, Conley, 18, and Reed, whoever that is, 23. I really don't know any of these guys. Conley, I think I've heard of, and that's it. Towns, Gobert, bunch of nobodies. So they also get 5, but they're getting 23 points from Nick Reed. And this Jay Daniels is probably the rebounder. He got 2 points. Well, he didn't get rebounds. He got 5 rebounds. But here's the problem I see. Here's Jay Daniels, gets 2 points, 0 for 3 from the 3-point line. Towns, 1 for 5. Edwards, 2 for 7. Yeah, this is the problem I have with basketball. Let's go shoot 3 points. Yeah, but your percentage of making them is 0. This guy's 0 for 3, 1 for 5, 2 for something. So you go 3 for 15 and you lose the game by a point. Maybe get the ball in the paint and maybe, try dunking the ball. I mean, Jesus Christ, what the hell's wrong with these people? So you give up possessions and you lose because you shoot 3-point shots, which you're incapable of making. Nick Reed or whoever went 7 of 9 for the 3-point. Whip-de-doo. I mean, he was 8 out of 13 on field goal attempts. That's ridiculous. So he gets 23 points. He got hot. He won't do that on the road because you play better at home. So now we wonder, can Minnesota win it all? You've lost the first 2 games at home. You stole the 2 at Denver, and then you lost those 2 at home to Denver. So there's a big problem with Minnesota. They have a home court advantage. That's obvious. They're pretty pathetic. So Dallas winning the 2 games looks better. Now, game 3 comes. Minnesota now has their back against the wall for real. They go down 3-0, it's over. They don't come back from 0-3. So look for Minnesota to play their best game. Is it good enough? Can this Edwards and Towns and Nick Reed, is Nick Reed going to score 23 on the road? No. So can they even win a game? We will see. They will give their best effort. However, can they match up against Luca Brasi and a couple guys on Dallas? But Dallas doesn't need the game. They're up 2-0. We ran into this in the Denver-Minnesota series. Minnie wins the first 2 at Denver. Game 3 comes in Minnie, but Minnie's up 2-0. Doesn't care. Denver wins both games in Minnie. And then Denver wins game 5. So you got to be blind on this, and you got to only look at who needs the game. Minnie needs game 3. Minnie was up in this game, so they could beat Dallas. They just can't match up. They got to get Edwards and Conley. They got to switch that. They can't guard Luca Brasi. You got to get somebody who can. Put Dennis Rodman on him if you need to. But that's what you have to do. So obviously, whoever's guarding him can't do it. Hey, Alex, how are you today? So basically, this is the problem, but in one game. So Minnesota must win game 3. They're going to play their best. Is it good enough? And that's why we think so, but you don't know. But you got to bet on who needs the game and the effort they're going to give you. So you're going to get a great effort from Minnie. They can't go down 3-0. Is it enough? We don't know. They should be a dog 5 or 6 points. So this should be a really big bet on Minnie in game 3. Even if Dallas wins, it should be close because Minnie's got to go all out. They can't go down 3-0. So that's the bottom line. So it's a loss. It's a small loss, but now we come back with the big bet on game 3 because they can't go down. Now, Boston and Indy. Boston leads 2-0. This is today's game, I believe. On ABC. Wow, they're actually showing a game on real TV. Yeah, this is today. It's at 8:30. Boston at Indy. Boston's a 7.5-point favorite. Again, I don't know the over-unders enough. 222. That might be the better bet, but I can't say, wow, look at this team. Hey, real D. Nothing, just looking at our baseball and basketball right now. Then we'll get into economics a little bit later. So, first game of Boston goes to overtime. The next game, they win pretty convincingly. When we saw what Indy did to a injured Milwaukee team, and against the Knicks before they got injured, they played pretty well. They win game 7 because 2 Knicks players were injured. So, with that said, I don't like Boston laying 7.5. No, this is do or die for Indy. Again, if they go down 3-0, it's all over. They really kind of lucked out. Milwaukee's guys were injured. The Knicks, when they were healthy, were beating them. They get a couple of injuries. Game 6, they got the injury, and Indy killed them. And then game 7, the one guy's injured. The other guy breaks his hand. So Indy's still yet to beat a full, healthy team yet. Well, my gut says I got to take Indy in 7.5, even if Boston wins. You got to understand basketball. The home court is huge. It's the role players like that Nick Reed I just talked about on Dallas, or Minnesota. He played better because it was at home. They're more comfortable. Because when you play, it's 20,000 people and the crowd's rooting for you. You get emotional, and the other team freaks out. So it's very hard unless you have like a really strong defensive team like the Pistons used to in the 80s, Larry Bird or Magic and Kareem. You're not going on the road and winning very often. That's what you need, right? Larry Bird, I can bet him on the road. That's the one fact nobody tells you. He used to sweep Michael Jordan. So when they were up 2-0 and then go to Chicago, they'd go 3-0, 4-0, and it'd be all over. Same thing with the Pistons. They had that strong defense, so they took the crowd out of it. They didn't win with their offense. They didn't have any. They had Isaiah. Magic and Kareem, you couldn't stop, so that was a matchup issue. But they won at Boston, so they were a real team. Indy doesn't have anywhere near the players, neither does Boston really to do any of that kind of stuff. I don't see Boston going in. I see Indy winning this game. They go down 3-0, it's over. So you're getting the game 6 against the Knicks at home game. I look for Indy to come out. I look for them to win the game. I've seen Boston put up a bunch of stinkers. Now, Boston has played – they beat Miami, who basically sucked 4-1, and they beat Cleveland, who basically sucks 4-1. So now this is their first time, and they're getting lucky. Is that they're getting the 6th seed here? This sounds like the college tournament where, Michigan State, there's an upset, and they get the 16th seed, and they get the 8th seed, and they get the 11th seed. Then they finally go to the Final Four against the 2 or 3 seed and get their ass kicked. And in this case, Indy's gotten very lucky with their drawings and the injuries. However, they did beat a healthy Knicks teams in the middle games. So I think Indy at home wins this game. You're getting 7.5, 220 222. I don't know over-unders in basketball. I don't know what's a good number. Football, I got. All right, college football, I got. You're giving up 40 a game. Yeah, we're betting over on you guys. Real Pacers is undefeated at home right now. Why the question marks? So are you saying they are or they're not? Pacers is undefeated at home right now. Well, I mean, I don't know in the playoffs if they are. All I know is this is a do or die game for them. This is backs against the wall. They're down 2-0. They go down 3-0. Forget it. They're good enough to have played the Knicks, who were a good team until the injuries. So Boston has nothing to play for here. They go up 3-0, but you don't have that back against the wall problem, right? There is no back against the wall. So Indy must win. Even if Indy doesn't win, we're getting 7.5 points. That's ridiculous. So take Indy plus the 7.5. We'll start our picking with that game. So go Indy. We'll call it 5 units. Plus, we get over a touchdown. It's good in any sport getting over a touchdown. It was at 6.5 a day ago, but that 6.5 be very tricky spread. I'm just looking here at 7.5. So I'm just going on Yahoo. I'm not like I do football where I go on every site. This is just the general. So I'm taking the 7.5. Really, we know we're going to get a good effort from Indy. They're obviously a fairly good team. They took Boston to overtime game 1, so they obviously can play with them. Boston, played backs against the wall game 2 and won it. And now we're back to Indy. So if Indy doesn't win, they're not going to get blown out. Very hard for the road team to blow out, especially at this stage. This is the 3rd round, so Indy's played, and they have pretty good role players because of the crowd side. So take Indy plus 7.5. I'm just going to make it a 5 unit. I'm not getting too excited on a 10. We might leave that to Minnesota. Well, Minnesota's going to be a big bet, I think, depending on the line. If they give me, Minnesota will be the dog. The game's in Dallas, right? So game 3, Minnesota is going to be a pretty big bet because they'll be getting points and they have to win. And we saw what they did at Denver. They won first 2 games at Denver. So they're a pretty good road team, and they suck at home, apparently. So we know Indy's good at home, and Minnie's a good road team. So I'm fine with them. So that'll be tomorrow or Monday, whenever they play that. And let's get to baseball. So baseball, the Verlanders, he's on now. We got Verlander going. So now anytime there's Verlander, it's an automatic bet. He had that one bad game against the Yankees, which lowered his ERA like to 5. And then he 2 hits Detroit, a 2-hit shutout for 8 innings. And then yesterday he nailed them pretty good. So we're going with Verlander. But what we're looking for are other Verlanders, and I think we see it. And we had Darvish yesterday, gave up. I think they lost 8-0, but that was the total. So we tied there. But I was going to say Steve Carlton. What's the guy? The lefty. What the fuck? God, I can't think of his name. He's back. Jesus. Anyway, I can't think of his name, but he's come back, and you're just looking for these hot pitchers. The Cubs have a couple. Boston, I thought, had one, but he's not as hot. Let's see. What's the guy, the lefty? Wow, I can't think of this guy's name. It was on Boston. Chris Sale, that's who it is. Chris Sale is Chris Sale again. He's like 7-1 with a 2 ERA. He's back. So we're adding Chris Sale to the list. Verlander, and then Scherzer's still out. Kershaw's out. Shotani's not pitching. So it's hard, but we're finding the low ERAs. Yeah, okay. So with that said, let's do baseball. It's 11:12 Detroit time, Eastern time. First game, 1:10 Eastern time. So let's go. Toronto at Detroit. Toronto's 110, over under of 8. They played, Toronto beat them yesterday pretty good. It was 6. No, Detroit won 6. It was 6-0. Toronto scored 2 runs to tie me on my. I had Toronto under 8. And they give up 2 runs in the last inning. Unbelievable. Leave it to the Tigers. So the Tigers did win. Jose Berrios for Toronto, 5-3 with the 2.98 against Reese Olson, 0-5 with the 2.16, and he is nowhere near 2.16 ERA. So what could be an under? We look at Reese Olson. Last game, he pitched 2 innings and gave up 2 runs. Then he had an 8-inning shutout. A 6th inning, he gives up 2 runs. A 5-inning shutout. A 7 innings, 1. And then a 5 innings, he goes 5 innings and gives up 4. He goes 4 innings and gives up 6. So he's had 2 bad performances. But if we look at the last 5, 2-0, 2-0, 1. So he's pretty good the last 5. Jose Burros, 5-3 with the 2.98. So I'm going to go with the under here. So we'll go Toronto under 8. And this will be 5 units because Detroit really can't hit. Neither can Toronto. Toronto's hitting a whopping 228. I don't know where. You got all these superstars on Toronto, none of them hit. So again, I'm going with this line, which is here. So over under 8, 110. So I'm not monkeying around on scores and odds and looking at 5 casinos. You can do that, but for this, I just don't have the. This doesn't matter. This is close enough. So if you can beat it, if you can get 8.5, obviously take it. But I'm under 8 with this for 5 units. Frisco and the Mets. The Mets are 140-8. Jordan Hicks, 4-1 with a 2.38 for the 49ers. The Jets, Luis Cervino, 2-2 with a 3.48. We got to go and really, can these guys hit? This is the difference in football. I know everything. In baseball, I still got to check a little. Frisco hitting 247 with the 4.62 ERA. Cervino for the Jets hitting 235 with a 3. So the Jets are more of an under team, just like football. And the Niners, I wish they had that great defense here. Good starting pitching. Boy, it's hard to go with I want to go with the 49ers, but Cervino to 3.48 ERA could shut him out. I can't play. I'm going to go under, but I'm not going to play it. So San Fran under 8, but no bet on it. Baltimore and the White Sox. The White Sox suck. 15-37. Baltimore, on the other hand, is 31-18. Baltimore is a 185 favorite, over under 8. Albert Suarez, 2-0 with a 1.78. And Eric Fetty for the White Sox, 4-1 with a 3-0. This is an under. So we're going Baltimore under 8. We'll make this 5 units. This is what, so here, Albert Suarez, 2-0 with the 1.78. Now let's see if he's real or if it's 2 games. Yeah, he's real. Oh, yeah, he's pitched 10 he's a bullpenner. Motherfucker, he's a bullpenner. Okay, what do we do with a bullpenner? I don't know what to do with a bullpenner. So you see the 1.78, but you know he's only going to pitch 3 innings or 4 innings. So we got to go to the Baltimore bullpen. And it's a 3.39, so it's good. Okay, we'll stay with the 8. The White Sox can't hit anyway. Fetty 4-1 with the 3-1. Okay, so we'll stay Baltimore under. Because it's a bullpenner, we can't bet Baltimore because he's only going to get 3 innings out of the guy. And this is way too common. These bullpen guys come out and you see this low ERA, and then you see, wow, he only pitches 2 innings a game. Unbelievable. So you've got 5 starters that you pitch 100 pitches, and I'm noticing when I look at pitch counts, so I'll look at the box score and I'll see, and not even going 90 pitches anymore. There, I see one guy yesterday. Oh, he pitched 6 innings, 87 pitches. That's it. And you're not going to use them for 5 more days. Not an efficient way to use them. And if you're afraid of injuries, then you need to go back to a 4-man rotation and let them go 150 pitches, because clearly they're getting hurt with this 87, 90 pitch bullshit that you're doing every 5th day. These pitchers are so out of shape that they keep getting hurt. Sorry, you got to pitch these guys every 4 days and let them go 150, 200 pitches, like Nolan Ryan, who never got hurt. All right, Texas, Minnesota. Michael Lorenzen for Texas, 2-3, 3.61. Chris Paddock, 4-2, 4.47 for Minnie. Minnie's actually the favorite at home, 135, 8.5. Minnie's actually pretty good. Well, they were. They're 27-23. Weak bullpen 401, weak hitting 233 against Texas, who you think can hitting 247 with the 5. This is an over game, over pitchers. Here we go. So mini over, and it's 8.5, and we'll make this 5 units. All right. Seattle against Washington. Seattle 165, 8.5. Logan Gilbert, Seattle 3-2 with a 3.20. Trevor Williams 4-0 with a 2.35. We're going to go under in this. I'll go 5 units, under 8.5. A lot of under 8.5s today. Now, what I noticed, the Tigers switched pitchers on me yesterday. They were supposed to go with one guy, and when I looked in the box score, it wasn't the guy. Now, we still got the 8. We pushed on the 8, but it wasn't the right pitcher. It wasn't the pitcher I thought I was getting. But it worked out because the other guy came in and shut it out. But, you think you've got the right pitchers. I don't know when they're making these pitching changes, but keep I'm betting on Gilbert Williams, right? And if it's not, then either, get away from it or see what it is. But Williams is a 2.35 ERA for Washington. Now, Gilbert's a 3.20, so that makes it an under. But if they switch and some other clown comes out for Seattle with the 6 ERA, then bet Washington. I'm only going by what I see now at 11 o'clock. Why am I seeing these pitchers and they're not the right pitchers? So that's what I'm banking on. Atlanta, Pittsburgh. Atlanta 29, Pittsburgh 24-28. Atlanta's a 158.5. Ronaldo Lopez 2-1 with the 1.54 against Mitch Keller 5-3 with the 3.84. Now Mitch Keller I know is a starter. Let's look at Ronaldo Lopez. Low ERA. And he's actually a starter. Okay. He's only had one bad game where he gave up 3 runs against Seattle. Otherwise, he's been really sharp. So, Lopez, Keller. So, this is an under. So, we'll go Atlanta under. And it's 8.5. They're all 8.5s today. And this one I'm going to do another 5 units on. Let's cancel the Baltimore one. I'm not comfortable. I got enough other games, and I'm not comfortable with the bullpen guys starting. So we'll go Atlanta under 8.5, 5 units. Good pitching, man. I mean, Keller 3.84, so he can shut you out, and this Lopez's 1.54 is real. So, but that's what we're looking for. Never heard of him. 2-1, 1.54, and he's pitched 10 games. Okay, fine. Houston and Oakland. We got Spencer Spaghetti, 2-4 at the 7-1-6, who did actually win last time against Oakland. JP Sears, 3-3 with the 4-3-1. This is an easy over. We'll take Houston over 8.5. Everything's 8.5. Funny, yesterday everything was seven, 7.5, and this is 8.5. And we'll go 5 units on this one. I'm starting to get more comfortable with the ERAs because these pitchers are pitching 10, 11 games now. So you really, early in the year, you don't know what a 7 ERA is, right? Hey, he's pitched 2 games. Who knows? Now, after 10 games and a 7.16 ERA or a 4.31 ERA, now you know the guy sucks. All right. So we're going to go Houston's favorite in Oakland. I don't like playing the road favorites in any sport. So let's go. We'll go over with 2 terrible pitchers. Milwaukee, Boston. Boston a 150 favorite, 9.5 in Boston. Milwaukee 29-21, Boston 26-25. Colin Ray from Milwaukee, 3-2 with the 407 against Nick Pivetta, 2-2 with the 304. This is a tough one. Pivetta with the low ERA. Milwaukee, Ray 3-2 with the 407, so 4. So 3 against the 4. This is the game that I don't know what to do with, because I can't really go, do I take Boston? Well, let's look. Maybe we take Boston here, but I really, with the 304 ERA against a 407, is not the best to start picking the team. Boston with the 352 ERA, 243 batting average, and Milwaukee with a 380 ERA and a 257 bit. So this should be high scoring. Let's take a look at Nick Pivetta here. The other Boston guy, I can't remember his name, started off with 2 shutouts, and so his ERA looked like it was 1. And then he starts giving up 3-4 runs. Now his ERA is like 260. But if you take out the first 2 shutouts, he's really like a 4. And football now, where I look at the last. In the beginning, they haven't played preseason, so the first few weeks are bullshit. So I let those pass, and then about week 10, I look at the last 5, 6 games, and then I really got a good number on the teams. And some of the teams, what was it? I don't remember. There was a team last year that had a 20, I think it was the Bears. They had like a 23 defense, but when you played the last 6 or 7, they were like a 17. And that's what we're looking at. And KC was a great defense last year, and Baltimore was one, and Philly was like a low 20s, and then you saw the last 5, 6 games that were a 30. And Detroit was one of those too, because they had played Carolina and Atlanta early. So it looked like they had a 23 defense, but when you looked at the 6, 7 games, they got blown out by Green Bay, Chicago, Baltimore. All of a sudden, they were a 30 defense. So they're not a 23, they're a 30. And that's really what you want to know, is what's the real team, right? Nick Pivetta, a Canadian guy. Victoria, Canada. All right. Seattle, let's see. He's given up 1 run. He gave up 5 runs against Atlanta, 2 runs on Tampa, 1 on St. Louis. So overall, he's pitched 5 games. You go 6 innings twice, 5 innings twice, and the bad game, 4 innings. That was against Atlanta. So against a good hitting team, he didn't show up. He beat Seattle and Oakland and Tampa, teams that suck. So he's beaten bad teams. The one good team, he lasted 4 innings for 5. So who are they pitching here? They are playing Milwaukee. This was Nick Pivetta, I think. Yeah, all right. So Milwaukee, can they hit? Milwaukee hits 257. They're a pretty good hitting team. So Pavetta's not going to show up. So this is definitely an over game here. So we'll go ball. We're not going to bet it. Boston over 9.5. And you can see they have a big run to everything else is 8.5. Here it's 9 now, and it's also in Fenway, which generally you get more runs there. So this should be high scoring. KC and Tampa, we had our lock yesterday on Kansas City, which won easy. Today they got their other ace going. Brady Singer, 4-2 with the 2.70. Aaron Chevalde for Tampa, 2-4 at the 5. Here we go. We're taking KC again, and we'll make it another 10-unit play. That was our lock yesterday, and then won 10-0 or whatever, and we're right back with them. Now, Brady Singer, 4-2, 270. His name's familiar. He's a starter, and he's got a 2.70 ERA. And then Chevalier, 2-4 with a 5.92. This guy sucks. Should be in the minors. So we're going to take KC. KC, 33-19, very strong team. Tampa, 25-27, not so good. That's what we look for. The 2.70 against the 5.92. Go Kansas City. The Dodgers in Cincinnati. The Dodgers got killed yesterday. They lost like 6-0 or something. The Dodgers are a 145 fade. They just keep making the Dodgers. You'd think the Dodgers are going to win 150 games. The way they make them. They're 33-20 since he's 21-30. Dodgers 145-9. Walker Buehler 1-1 with the 4.05. Hunter Green 2-2 with the 3.22. I would take Cincinnati. I don't know. I'm not going to bet it, but Cincinnati. Let's look at Hunter Green. 2-2 with a 3.22 from LA. Now he's pitched all the time, and he's not a bullpenner. He has gone 7 innings 3 times and some 6s. Let's see. He's given up 2 runs, 1. He had a bad outing, Milwaukee, 7. He had a bad outing, Philly, 4, and then 2 shutouts and a 3, a 2, a 2. Now, granted, he's only pitching 5 innings, a 7-inning game against Arizona. He gives up 2 runs. A 6 1/3 against the Dodgers gives up 2 runs, which is impressive because we know how the Dodgers hit. So really, he just had 2 bad games. And this is the whole point of the problem we have in baseball. The guys all 1s and 2s, except 7 against Milwaukee and 4 against Philly. Now, we can quote it back to Mahomes. Mahomes we're betting on. We know he's going to win. And then there's one team, maybe it's Oakland. It was last year where he has a bad game. Not a bad game. He throws 2 interceptions and he doesn't throw a touchdown. And it's a 10-7 game, which I think what it was with the Raiders. So there you can see the defense of the Raiders holding them down, and you bet the game under because you know KC's got a great defense. And that's what you want. Here I can't tell what the defense is on which team is this? Cincinnati. I don't know what their defense is. I can see ERA, but that's all the pitchers. But I'm looking at Hunter Green. So he looks good. And I think we go, this is his history. And I think you look when they play Milwaukee again and you stay away from it. And Philadelphia, you stay away from them. But against Texas and Baltimore and Arizona and the Dodgers, you can play them. So here they're playing, the Dodgers? So he's okay against the Dodgers. So that's really what you're looking for is the matchup. So against Milwaukee, this guy, forget about him. Everybody else, he's good. And he's pitched 8-9 games. This is the Dodgers. He gave up 2 runs last time. So we're going to take Cincinnati here. We get the Dodgers are a 140 favorite. The game's in Cincinnati, so we're getting 130 with the dog and a money line. And that's what I like about baseball. It's all money line. Just win the game. I don't start fucking around where you're laying 2.5 runs. What is that? This is baseball. This isn't football. You don't lay runs, you money line it. So we're gonna go with Cincinnati. Hunter Green's really, if you take out that 7 against Milwaukee, and they're not playing Milwaukee, he's probably got a 2 ERA. So he's one of our studs. So we're gonna go Cincinnati here. Titus. Hey, welcome, Titus. Happy to do it. Happy to share the wealth. But we like football better anyway, don't we? It's so much easier football because it's a team. Do they have, like, Kansas City? They got this great defense which nobody understands, and Mahomes. Anytime they're a dog, you're going to play them, right? And that's the beauty of football that you don't have in baseball. In baseball, you got all these other guys hitting, where Mahomes is your offense, right? Oh, he's going to throw to Kelsey and Rice, and they got Pacheco. But you see that, so you know what you're going to get out of Mahomes, and you know they got a killer defense. So we don't know the killer defense in baseball is the pitcher. That's the defense. That's why we're focusing on him. But it's not like Mahomes is the quarterback. He'll find a way to win, but they don't let the pitchers find a way to win. It's insane. Oh yeah, you pitched 5 innings. You pitched 70 pitches. Why don't you take a break? We don't want you to hurt your arm. Thanks for playing. We'll see you in 5 days. Don't take 5 days off. I mean, it's absolute. Don't let me be a manager, because I'd be back to 4 days. I'd have 4 pitchers go